So on the climb of the Col de Pesud, this climb then 1,569 meters above sea level. When they get to the top, they will have covered 190 kilometers today. And here we are, Central European time, coming up towards 20 minutes to 3. Just think about these riders you're watching now. They were in the saddle at 8:30 Central European time, 7:30 UK time. You're watching now these riders who've been out there pedaling away. And what's that since, 8:30, 9:30, 10:30, 11:30, 12:30, 1, 2, 6 hours now. I can't give them some of them. 6 hours they've been riding, these fellas, and this is the way they earn their living. And they've been at it ever since those of you this morning got up, brushed your teeth, had your breakfast, read your newspapers, whatever the case may be. And that's what bike racing is all about. They're going to cover 3,720 kilometers in 20 days. That's well over 2,500 miles in 20 days. And I don't know how many car drivers who've been driving their cars since we started out from the Puy de Fou just nearly 3 weeks ago will have covered the same sort of distance. You think that? They're pedaling their bikes, they're averaging nearly 25 miles an hour since we set out. The average speed today as they came into today's race, in fact the overall general classification had dropped a little bit to 39.677 kilometers per hour. It's just a stiff under 25 miles an hour. Slowed down a bit by that stage when Rancon won that one into Andorra when he did 35.5 kilometers per hour, but that was still just under 20 miles an hour when we took into account some 9 climbs in the day. And today these riders here have 3 first category climbs, 2 second category climbs, and they give these climbs their categorization depending upon the severity and the length. We've had some what we call hall category climbs, that's beyond comprehension, but today we've got 3 first cats. The first one we went over was a Puerta de la Bonigua, and now we're on the Col de Pesud, and at the end of the day, the St LarySoulan, and that climb will hit these riders in the final 10 kilometers. And this little group now riding constant tempo, Conti on the front. I can see really to an extent why he's trying, because Rees here also rides the LST. He's trying to keep his man in contention, but I'm still not quite certain of the LST tactics, except it's probably to make sure that Rees isn't caught and overtaken by riders further back down. Sorry about the break-up, by the way. Oh, we're back again now, up with the leaders in fact. Rees Hampston is with him at the moment. There's 3 minutes separating themselves on the road, so I think Conti is just rolling along at the moment. There's not much he can do except keep these two sort of in view, because Chiappucci 14:11 started out some 4 minutes down on Rees, so obviously Conti's job. And Robert Miller is on the front of this chasing group, where Robert loves the Pyrenees, man who took the polka dot jersey in the Tour de France. All the stages, the other one in the Tour de France have been in the Pyrenees. Look at Robert, smooth styling Scotsman on the front. Well, we had the flying Scotsman Aubrey get the hour record just at the end of last week, and here we're seeing Robert Miller still showing that he can climb mountains with the best of them. Just sit back and look at the Scotsman in action.
There could be some big changes coming up here, because the main group with Miller in is catching up on the Indurain group, and Chiappucci is still holding 29 seconds on the other group. They've dropped Pulnikov off the back, so there could be some changes with Miller coming up on the attack.
Good. Well, Miller at the moment on general classification, riding a great race here. He's just outside the top 20 as such. He's 29th overall. That's a long way, 9 men you might say, but he's 35 minutes and 15 seconds down on general classification. If he wants to move into the top 10 places, he has to move forward about 7 minutes. So people like a Chave, Madouas, Rondon, Varank, Gonzaga, Bona, Bolts, Molon, Bourguignon, and so on. So perhaps Robert's doing just the right thing to come up to this little group now and get himself a top 20 place. So still Claudio Chiappucci started 7th this morning, 14 minutes, 11 seconds down, and this group is beginning to accelerate there. Miller's still doing all the work on the front. That looks like Frank Cavona with him, just behind him, the GB rider, GBMG, sitting on his wheel, and they're going to catch this group. Now then, on the flat normally, when a group like that comes up to this lot, you find people zapping off down either side of the gutter to try and get through. These are the major mountain climbers. If it's just Conti at the front, who's not really placed on general classification in any threat to the rest of them. These are the top men. We've got in this little group now the man who's riding first, second, third, fourth, fifth and sixth on general classification, all in this group at the moment. And coming up from behind is another group. Now this lot are going to watch each other because they can't let anything slip. The oddball out there, by the way, is Stephen Roche, who's 18th overall, 26.15. These two men are down the road, so when that group comes up behind, let's see the fireworks. And look at that, isn't that magnificent? The Pyrenees, a beautiful part of the world, and massive towering mountains which start gently at the Basque foothills and then plunges right down into the Mediterranean near Perpignan, where we come from. Absolutely beautiful part of the world. And the Spaniards have come out in great number because this is where the border is between Spain and France. And the warm, hospitable welcome from the people in this neck of the woods, and some magnificent scenery, I can tell you. Absolutely beautiful country. And there's a lot of famous places around here. Not far down the valley is Lourdes, a famous place of pilgrimage. And right now, these people are on their own particular pilgrimage to the top of the mountain. See the Spanish flag? I told you they come over in large numbers. And there they are, the red and yellow flags waving in the sunshine, beating down on those two men in the lead, Claudio Chiappucci, Massimo Carotto. This is the chasing group behind him. And let's see now what the gap is back to that main pack. What was the time check last we had, Brian?
We're still on 29 seconds with the group there, but with Chiappucci over the group, but it looks to me as if it's dropping a little bit as we look at it there now.
Well, we'll get another time check coming up, bringing you all the action here on Eurosport. Look at the cars here and the camper vans. People coming out to watch the race. I must say, looking at that lovely old film of Louis-Anne Bobet yesterday, I'm sorry to hark back to it, but the crowds which used to gather on the mountain tops were even greater than we get today. And the reason, of course, is a number of reasons. First of all, a lot more sports and cycling now to look at than there were in the 1950s. But even so, television is bringing the sport to millions and millions and millions and millions and tens of millions of more people. So you don't have to go out. This is a devotee followers of the sport. They can take their portable TV sets out and watch it. They can watch them go past, but you don't have to just go out there on the side of the road. In the old days, all you got was the radio, and all we got in England to a large extent, we had to wait with great interest to people like Jock Wadley, who used to write for International Cyclists, and he would send us in the cycling press, we'd get it a week late maybe in Cycling magazine, still bringing us up-to-date information, and the magazine in the old days called Bicycle as well. We'd read it weekly, and the national newspapers didn't cover it at all, except when people like Robinson started to arrive. In the 50s, you had to wait with bated breath for the cycling each week and the monthly magazine to read all about it. Now you switch on the telly, there it is in your home, live as it's happening, and here we've got these two riders on the front then. Claudio Chiappucci, followed then by Carotto, has not come to the front at all. He hasn't turned a pedal. The Belgian flag is waving. Today, by the way, is Belgian National Day, and I told you in the past about the journalists who put together what we call a prognostication, who's going to win the stage. We put in order the top five, and you get points for them, and the person who gets the most points wins the lolly, you see. The journalists do it, and we, little gang on Eurosport, we do it as well. And I played a little trick on Paul Dore, the Belgian commentator today, because I put up on the bit of paper all the 5 Belgians who retired from the race. Well, it's National Belgian Day. I suppose you need a sense of humour. But I didn't see what he put up after that. It was probably some rude words on my selections. Well, I've only won once. So we are then. Claudio Chiappucci is on my selection for the day. Carotto wasn't, because who would expect him to be with this very esoteric group? And you see how it turns sharp right and comes back on itself straight up that climb. You don't get the impression on the TV how hard these mountains are. This long grind up this mountain that they're doing now. 15 kilometres of climbing, something like 10 miles, no flat, nowhere to rest, nowhere to hide, exposed to the elements. And Claudio Chiappucci here pushing in enormous gear, I think, for mountain climbing. Well, keep your fingers crossed he doesn't blow. That fella is really giving a great ride today. Any more time checks, Brian?
Nothing really at the moment. Well, hang on, we've got something coming up there now. We've got 2 kilometres from the top, 23 seconds on the Indurain group, and 37 over the group led by Miller. It looks as if Chiappucci is still managing to keep his nose ahead there just about, but you can see there now the way the Miller group is starting to take on the Indurain group.
Well, nice to hear over the wires that in fact Miller is a group there, because there are 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, maybe 15 riders coming up to that little group in front. Here they are. Let us pick up again those names. If you just joined our program, Eurosport covering this stage 16 of the Tour de France. On the front at the moment, Conti for the Andorre-St team. Just behind him in the yellow jersey, Miguel Indurain, the overall race leader. Just behind him too is Stephen Roche. In there too, Mahika for the Motorola team, Bjorn Rees for Andorre-St, Jaskula for GBMG, and getting up toward the top of the climb today, here we have Claudio Chiappucci trying hard just to stay clear of Carotto. I hope that Carotto does not do the old 1-2 and come past Chiappucci, because he'll be doing all the work. Well, here we are then, 1 kilometre from the top of the climb. Claudio Chiappucci on the front, and he towed this man Carotto all the way up toward the top of this very famous climb in the Tour de France then. So they have a lead of some 23 seconds on the Indurain group, 37 seconds back to Robert Miller's group. And when they go over the top, Claudio Chiappucci is a tremendous descender, and the question is, will these two stay away on the descent? They come up there now. Carotto, I think, will allow Claudio Chiappucci, or he should do, to take this one, because undoubtedly he has been doing all the work. We're back then with this chasing group then. Last time checked 23 seconds. They got within 14 seconds. Then Claudio Chiappucci went away yet again. The little devil was determined to try and take this stage today. Determined, I think, to try and attack the King of the Mountains polka dot jersey. He's worn it in the past as Claudio Chiappucci. He's finished second and third the Tour de France. He's been the King of the Mountains in the Tour de France. And now Claudio Chiappucci is coming back into his own. This man, who has a never-say-die attitude to bicycle racing, is going to pull himself up over the top of this climb, going down for maximum points on this climb. And here he is then, Claudio Chiappucci, with Carotto just behind him, heading toward the top. Watch on the left-hand side, the clock will show you the gap between them and the chasers, and Claudio Chiappucci takes first place ahead of Carotto. That is a great performance. He never missed a beat all the way up. But look at this lot coming up now. Conti, but he's going to ease back now, because the polka dot jersey needs those few extra points.
Conti in the run.
And there they go, over the top of that particular climb now. And on the way down, well, Chiappucci is an absolute nutcase. He got away on the descent of the mountain just before this one. It was down the Portillon that he actually drove away. Look at this group coming up behind them. There, Alcala, I can see, zipping up his jersey. There, Perini. There's Robert Miller for TVM just coming through. And the damage has been done back to these chasing men. So as they go to the top there of this climb, it's in the what they call the Haute Pyrenees. It's the what they call the Circle of Death, the Obisque and the Tourmalet. And it went first over the top in the Tour de France way back in 1910, when Lapise was the first man over the top of this climb. And these riders more interested in survival than history now. Jean-Francois Bernard ridden himself in the ground for the Benesto team the day before yesterday, did a superb and tremendous job. And the way the Benestos have worked for Indurain, that's all about tactics. Coming over the top then, the rest of these riders ease themselves. You see how they straighten their backs when they come up, because really you can get an enormous amount of backache and pain on a stage like this one, because we're going to cover today 230 kilometres of riding. You can see the determination on their faces. You can see in the background the enormous towering peaks of the Pyrenees. They ride their bikes uphill, down dale, day after day, day after day, and the descents is a short respite, but my goodness, it can take an awful battering on the way down. As Martinelli was saying last week, you can get tired on the way down too, with the buffeting, the concentration, the touch of the brakes. And Chiappucci, watch him stream on his body now. And for information, Martinelli will be back with us in the commentary point tomorrow. We have 6 hours on air in the Tour de France, covering the whole of the stage tomorrow. And right now then, Claudio Chiappucci and Carotto in the lead on this descent. Just sit back and watch this and hold your breath. Well, Kirotto is the bigger of these people dropping off the mountain now, these two at the moment. Massimo Kirotto and Claudio Chiappucci. And still they're coming up over the top of the climb. And the crowd applauding the performance of these riders, the domestics, the men who are struggling. The regroupment will take place on the way down. See the old zips going up and the hat's coming on because you lose 25% of your body heat through your head, so you put your hat on and cool down. Now, when they get to the bottom of this descent, it'll flatten out a bit and then go down again, and then around about 210 kilometres, it will start to go up again. And we finished 230 kilometres, so we've got something like about 20 kilometres of the ride. Brochard just going through with his Castorama team. The Amaya riders climb, and there's Bugno. He is well down. 4 minutes and 5 seconds. Gianni Bugno. This has not been one of his great Tour de France's, and I'm sure right now he's thinking of the world champion. And here comes Alex Zülle.
It's like Rincon with Bugno there. I should say it was Rincon with Bugno there.
Yes, I think Brian, he got a bit stuffed a couple of days ago. Yes, I mean, he did a great ride, didn't he? But a young ride like that, I think he did what he had to do. He got the stage victory for Amaya. But Zülle, well, I was talking, in fact, to Paul Doer, our Belgian commentator, yesterday after we did the highlight programme, and I said, well, I thought perhaps they might retire Zülle after the rest day and give him some chance to recover rather than batter him. And he said no, he said his feeling was that the lad needed to learn how to suffer in the Tour de France. They took him out on rest day last year, and if you're going to understand the pain and suffering, there's Zülle on the right hand side, and one day you're going to be a victor at Tour, you have to go through those terrible, terrible times when you really are battered and you call upon that little bit extra in your head, because it's the brain that drives the body after a while and takes you through those pain barriers. So I think that's the moment now that Zülle is beginning to understand that he's going to win the Tour de France ever. He's just got to learn to suffer, as Claudio Chiappucci has been doing in these past 2 days. He's not been on form, and I was talking to Stephen Roche the other day. He said, no, Claudio, you can see it in his eyes and his manner. He just hadn't got the edge. When he's really going, this fellow, he starts to bubble. Well, it looks now that today Claudio Chiappucci is beginning to bubble, and he's going to come on the boil, and he's looking for a stage victory. He was this morning 14 minutes 11 seconds down on Indre. He's not going to pull it back today, but he's showing that given a chance, probably next year, that maybe he still challenges for that yellow jersey. But look at the speedometer there. To my mind, it's certainly around about some over 40, maybe 50 miles per hour. It's all the kilometres down there. Let's go back to it. Nope, we haven't got it yet. This is a job and a half driving.
He's having a big problem holding his motorbike on the road, because in fact the bikes go quicker than the motorcycles, and they have to really watch it on these descents.
I tell you, they do, Brian. Actually, they do a marvellous job, because the camera's standing up. He's gripping the tank with his knees, or the saddle with his knees. He's pointing that camera there, bouncing up and down, trying to steady it so we get a nice clean picture. He could actually go on what we call long shot, so he takes out all the vibration. But no, he stays close to them. This bloke's driving the bike, trying to keep his mate behind, you know, in amongst the bike racing, and they really have got a marvellous combination between the man on the bike and the man with the camera. I'm talking about our cameraman right now, because this puts you right in the driving seat. You can feel yourself leaning around your bike, straightening up. Sometimes I feel I'm going to touch the brakes as well on descents like that. And Breukink is way off the pace. This is the day that Eric Breukink has got to say bye-bye to his Tour chance. Every year he comes into the Tour, every year we think he might do something. He's always been promised as a fair chap to do a great ride in the Tour. His father, Wim Breukink, has been on the Tour. He organised the Tour of Holland with Wim, and I think his lad, who's a very, very accomplished and polished bike rider, has got to really hope perhaps next year it might come good. But these two riders now, look at Claudio Chiappucci. What a difference in style. The long, gawky, long-legged, punchy rider, Kirotto, winner of the Wincanton Classic in Liège last year. What a great change between himself and this man here, Claudio Chiappucci. Short, chunky, punchy, you know, full bubbling, what have you, and Kirotto behind him. Well,
there's some stuff bubbling up there. We saw going over the top there that it was Chiappucci, Girotto, Rominger, Conti, Indurain. Now, there's a group of 23 riders that are getting together behind. who are really starting to move downhill onto the attack.
Well, here they are now, Brian. They've caught up with that breakaway group as the information came through off the radio here. I can assure you, because I've just seen Veronk in there, there are more RSTs coming through. So what I call the Robert Miller group now, of some 20-odd men, has now caught up with the Indurain group. And this can have two things happen. One is that one or two riders who fancy their chances of stage victory, having caught up with the Indurain group, are going to go on the front and hammer after these two, or conversely the large size of the group will be such that they'll have a disconcerted attempt to pull back our two breakaways, which means that Claudio Chiappucci or Marcino Carlotto could be in for a stage victory today. 22 seconds, it is absolutely a gnat's whisker. There's nothing in it at the moment between these two and the chasing group. And here they are, Arios really driving hard in the front, looking for the stage victory. Well, they got Bjorn Rees take a stage already. They've had Kasani in the polka dot jersey. Their team disbands at the end of the year, and well, I say that because Motorola were going to disband, but now they decided finally that they'll stay in the sport after having so much publicity from it. But we have here some information on the climb, confirmation of the gaps and the first 6 men over, Brian.
Yes, we've got Chiappucci, Girotto, then at 18 seconds, Rominger, Conti, Indurain and Stefan Roche. Stefan Roche was in there, Ireland, hey!
Well, he's in there still at the moment, but he won't do anything, of course, to attack this little group because he rides for Carrera, the same team as the leader. So there, Roche, we just concentrate there. He's just gone through your screen. The class riders begin to move up as well. Class not being C-L-A-S-S, but C-L-A-S singular for the team from Spain. That's Romiger's team. And Aristeer have at least 5 men at the moment. Motorola have a couple here at the moment. Looks like another of the GBMG riders, Vona's, come up to this little one as well. And I see now that Maika's riding with one red arm warmer and one blue arm warmer, one on one side, one. It reminds me of tonight I had a pair of Dayglow socks, and there were a pair of red ones and a pair of green ones, and my club colours are red and green. I turned up one day with one red sock on one leg and one green sock on the other. Tiger said, "There's a pair like that back at home, lad." Well, there you go. He's got a pair like that back at home when it comes to arm warmers, I suppose. They've given up. Girotto said that's enough. Claudio Chiappucci likewise. Oh, look at this. I didn't keep my stopwatch going, but it's an awful long time. And look at this great crowd coming over now. And in there, Abdu Japarov in the green jersey for the points. He's just come over here. A massive number of riders who are helping themselves to their anoraks to drop down the other side, stop the chill on their chest, looking out, picking up the newspapers, not to read, by the way. Denise is smiling for some reason. Maybe Denise on the left-hand side. He had a bit of a smile on his face, but he's thankful he's got over it because he's got one more big climb to come today, and of course, one more day in the Alps tomorrow. And then the war of attrition, the grinding down, the hammering that goes on in these great mountains will be over, and the riders who are just capable of grovelling over the top of the mountains will have to smile and start to hammer and get themselves in a position to take some stages, because we're going to be racing out of Pau after tomorrow for Fez to Bordeaux, and then they'll go by the TGV, the Tron Grand Vite, to the next stage will be at Montlhéry, where they have a time trial and that final run into Paris. So anybody gets through today knows he's got one more day of suffering ahead of him, and I think one of those riders, a bit like getting towards the last day at school, you've survived and you perhaps will be able to get to the finish after all. So this other group now together. I suspect on this descent that there Claudio Chiappucci tried to get away from them. All say well,
I think Indurain wrote the script today, don't you?
Suits him so much, doesn't it, really? Because we've got that final climb yet to come after 219 kilometres, the last 10 kilometres of the day, up to St Lary-Soulan. And really, with so many riders here in this little group, and it's a fairly quick bit still because we keep going down and down and down till we're actually in the Hautes Pyrenees now. We had a little brief trip into Spain after starting in Andorra, and now we're back in France. There's a little trip through the Hautes Pyrenees, and then the sprint coming up after 219 kilometres. But I think according to my quick notes now, we've done about 200 or so kilometres in the race right now. Just some 30 kilometres to go. No doubt the graphic will come up shortly and correct it for me. And their confirmation then of that climb, Chiappucci, Carlotto and Rominger. And Rominger certainly, here we go, confirmation of the King of the Mountain. Rincon's been out of it today, but look at Chiappucci. He's trying to come back over Rincon for second place, and he's still got a long way though to take this polka dot jersey off the Swiss rider. Rominger, who said he's coming back next year to have a go at Indurain. He feels he can get the Tour de France, but he needs another year to do it. We shall wait and see. So it could be a third victory on the trot for Big Mig. And where is he? There he is, ever present near the front. What a man, what a team, there's no doubt about it. We've all been looking for the attacks to come to demolish him. In reality, he's just always been there. Brunel's now come up there and he's having a chat. Look how calm and cool he is then. Miguel Indurain, Jan Brunel just behind him. Brunel's now caught back. He was one that wasn't in that breakaway group earlier on, but he's now back in contention. 8th this morning, 14 minutes 54 seconds down. Fast riders up near the front. Well, as the motorcycles zoom through, let me tell you, as the arrow steers on the front now, that when we had the rest day, looking at the prize money so far, that GBMG, who have lost one or two of their riders, including Cipollini, who collected so much cash early on in the race, and Frances Moreau's just gone as well, that in fact they've now so far won 385,000 French francs. So we're talking around about what, nearly £50,000 worth of money. The second team on the money so far, class 361,000 French francs. Once 319,000 French francs. So we're still talking about £35,000. Bonesto 264,000 French francs. Nomer was back behind them, and way at the back of the prize money at the moment, by the way, is the little lotto team from Belgium, who so far scored 18,100 francs. So we're talking about something around about £2,000 plays, something around about what, 45,000 for the victors at the moment, which are the fastest, the best team so far in terms of money collected. GBMG. It'll change a bit going into the finish because we've still got the final presentation, which is a lot more money. But I thought I'd give you a rundown on having ridden their bike for something like 15 days. That's the sort of money which will be spread across all these riders in the race. Well, they're still going in toward the finish. We're going to take a short break. Do come back to us for more action. Of the St LarySoulan then, this 10-kilometre climb up to the top, 1,670 metres above sea level, and the class team have done a wonderful job to keep Rominger in contention. He has the polka dot jersey. He's in second spot at the moment, just ahead of the yellow jersey of Miguel Indurain. Conte's been riding very well indeed for the Andorre-St team, dropping off the pace a bit. Baker, the Colombian rider, has never attacked Indurain yet, and the Colombians certainly great mountain climbers, but I think he's just saying, look, I'm new to this game, I've been in the sport a few years now. In fact, Baker, his first sponsor when he turned pro, was a discotheque owner in Colombia, and right now he's sponsored by Motorola. He's sitting in there. Roche has moved up to him as well. Yaskula just behind him. The pink jersey of Brunel is moving through as well. Bjorn Rees just behind there in the Aristide striped red and yellow colours. Looks like Delgado behind. Claudio Chiappucci fighting his way back again. This is really classic stuff from Class, because they've kept them in on the front when that group came back together again to make sure that the man in the polka dot jersey could survive today's course. And further back down is Jean-Francois Bernard. Number 3 here has been riding himself into the ground all day for his teammate. He got back up there, Jean-Francois Bernard, and now he's burying himself to try and stay, but really his legs have gone. So has Carosso, who was in that breakaway over the top of the Col de Massoud with Claudio Chiappucci. He's also suddenly got rubbery legs. The man with the hammer's got to his knees, and that's him as far as he's concerned. And now we have these lithe riders, something around about 8 stone wet through, 5'3" to 5'8" maximum as far as they're concerned, except for giants of the road like Indurain, who is really a one-up. He's one of those big men that can use his big heart, his big lungs, and the blood being pumped round his lungs to force himself over the mountains. And here the big man is showing that he's really struggling. Carotto now grovelling his way back up again, and Bernard now fighting his way to try and get back up and help his teammate. This is tremendous stuff right now. They really are, these riders. You're looking at the back. This is what happens. We often stay at the front like we're doing now. Further back to some really good top-class professionals, people who can win the greatest races, who can ride your average amateur, average pro into the ground, and now absolutely been blowing out the back of the pressure. And here are the 2 class riders who've done a wonderful job then to keep their man in contention right now, drifting off there. Escartin was one of them who drifted off, and Zaga was the other one. and still one man left as far as class is concerned. This is great team tactics from the Spanish Dairy Company, and now Rominger is taking over. Thank you, he says to his team, and he accelerates. Rominger accelerates, Indurain responds, Mahika, and the gap's opening up now. This 10-kilometre climb, is this the one when Indurain and Rominger have the bags on? Mahika can't hold it, but look how Indurain came up to Rominger.
They were saying in Andorra that Mejia hasn't got the legs to attack. He's just hanging in there every time, but he really hasn't got the legs to take an attack out.
That proved it, because Rominger decided to go. Indurain went with him, and the gap has opened up now. Yaskula, and Miller's coming up. Miller is coming up. Miller, the fighting Scotsman then. A real epic rider when it comes to Pyrenees, would love a stage victory. He's coming up now, he's into third place. Rominger, Indurain, and the TVM rider from Scotland is coming up now. Robert Miller is trying to get up these two riders on the front. And again, Indurain and Rominger locked together in battle. Bachmann and Boy Robin, throughout this tour in the mountains, the two of them have been inseparable. It's been Rominger who's tried to get rid of Indurain on several occasions. Indurain's attacked Rominger and then sat there and smiled and looked back at him. But today isn't the time when Rominger has suddenly got that little bit extra in his legs. But no, Indurain's got it. They're well away. Let's wait for our camera to pick up further down the mountain who is into third place. This climb then up St LarySoulan. This great sports centre, big ski station. The sun has melted away the snow. It's brought out the spectators, it's brought out the flowers, it's brought out the greenery. It's brought out the best in these riders. The Tour de France is about heroism in the mountains, in the time trialling, on the flats, falling off, getting back on your bike, fighting your way through. Yaskuric is here now, taking up the chase. Roche is still there. Maker likewise. I think Miller's dropped off the pace a bit now. There's Claudio Chiappucci likewise. Well, Yaskula really has dug deep into his reserves. He's not normally known as a climber. No, Miller is still in between them. Miller is there, closing up, so Miller then in third place at the moment, hidden in the motorcycles. They're coming straight back down to the chasing group, missing out Miller. See all these green stickers on the front of the motorcycles? Those are the cameramen. They're getting pictures, by the way, but the stench from their motorcycles, they're riding through heat, they're riding through noise, they're riding through carbon monoxide for the motorcycles, they're riding through flag wavers who think they're trying to tempt the bulls to go. And here we are, this man from Scotland is coming up to them. Robert Miller, will he do what he tried to do the other day when he got up to Indurain and Rominger? He went past them. Look at Miller coming up now, intense there. And Claudio Chiappucci, legs of lead, dying on his bike.
Big trouble there. He's having big trouble there.
You're telling me Brian is having trouble? God, we've been through this as bike ride, and suddenly it all goes. But still, these lithe men in the mountains here on the front. Rominger, then Indurain. The spectators, thank goodness, are standing back today. Yaskula coming up to Miller. Miller's digging deep. Yaskula's going very quickly indeed. He's flattening out now. And so still Miller then on the front. Yaskula coming up to him right now. Yaskula may still get up to Miller. This is surprising. This big man here has really fought his way through the mountains. The Polish rider comes to Miller. The two of them can get together now. I think there's a fair chance he might have 4 men in with a shout. The spectators on the side of the road really cheering them on their way. Miller can see it. Look at Yaskula come up now. And he's going straight past Miller. These are the two leaders. Miller can't hold Yaskula's wheel. Well, that is a turn up for the books, because Miller looked very confident and he tried to romp up there, but he couldn't do it. Defending his third place. And in fact, of course, looking down the general classification, Maika 3:23, 1 minute and some 22 seconds separate Yaskula and Mahika on general classification. Yaskula then maybe trying to get himself second overall. Rominger Started out this morning 1 minute behind, and look at Roche coming up then to the Colombian. He could lose a minute and a bit today. He could lose his second place, drop to third. He's got to concentrate now. This is the moment when this rider, a bit unfit as far as racing is concerned, having been without a sponsor early on the season, has ridden doing the right thing by following in the shadow of the two leaders. And now Jaskula is coming up again. This is a tremendous ride by the Polish rider from GBMG, who have earned more money in the Tour de France than any other team so far, particularly with the sprinting of Cipollini. But Jaskula is providing him with a bonus. Nobody expected this man. He's getting back.
For the first time, I think Indurain's panting there. He's beginning to look a little bit distressed.
So it was said on the climb a couple of days ago that in fact he showed that sign of distress, but he does that at the moment. They've left it too late. His lead 3:23 on Mejica and 4:45 on Jaskula. He may be suffering, and so is Roche at the moment. But Roche really is showing still that courage that brought him the Tour de France, brought him the Tour of Italy and the World Champion all in 1 year. Robert Miller likewise showing now then that he's still got that depth of courage then to fight his way up the mountains. Really, the hammer has gone down now. We're watching an epic battle in these mountains at the moment, and Roche is coming up to the man who was in second place on classification, and Jaskula then has got up to the leaders. That's a tremendous ride by Jaskula, and still Rominger on the front, more concerned I think about trying to get his third stage in the Tour de France than moving up on general classification, because he's just that bit off the pace at the moment. Indurain with him, Indurain not having won a stage in the Tour except the prologue and the time trial. Those stages certainly count, but really to get one in the mountains is an accolade in itself. And so he's dogging now in the wheels of Rominger. He tried 2 days in the Alps to get a stage, and Miller is now being caught by Mejica, who's got to get on his wheel. Robert Miller attacked. Is he digging deep to get some more reserves? And he has. Robert bouncing in there. Robert's in there again, and Roche then would like to get up to them. Well, so we've got a Scotsman, an Irishman and a Colombian, and I don't think I know a joke about that. But here in front we've got a Spaniard and a Polish rider, and they're still getting toward the top of this climb. Roche is fighting his way back. He was going to get up any minute now then to Robert Miller just up in front, the TVM rider in the yellow, the Motorola rider in the blue and red, and the career rider here, Stephen Roche, coming together. So we've got 2 by 3. This little three-man group coming together. Well, they've lost contact with the leaders, and a lot will depend now on whether the leaders are going to sit back and just ride up together. Let's see what happens. Jaskula's certainly, I can't see him as yet going past these two. He tried to do it the other day and blew. He's going to have to wait and bide his time now. Romiger's still doing all the work. Well, we've never seen Rominger really, because he was a bit cooked up to now, but he's now found that little bit of extra in his legs. And these three men together, Claudio Chiappucci desperately doing his own ride. This is the hard way to do it. You've got no wheel to follow.
And you've got nobody in front breaking 10% of the wind for you, even on a climb.
No, so for these three in front, a battle for first, second and third in the stage today. Rominger searching down for just that bit more in his legs. Jaskula, well, he's still there at the moment. And Chiappucci has been overtaken by somebody. It's Hampsten. Hampsten then has just come up to him and gone past him, so Chiappucci is really struggling at the moment. Hampsten recovering then from those antibiotics, which has given him a pretty rough time so far. He's now really beginning to come back. And Chiappucci has now said thank you much indeed. He's got on his wheel. Miller in the yellow, Roche in the blue and white, sweat dripping off him. Maker, the Colombian, in the red and blue Motorola cars. These are a nice little three-man group, but this is the group they've got to catch back in front of them. And Rominger really, for the first time in the Tour de France, has had a consistent effort to grind down the yellow jersey of Miguel Indurain. Jaskula, a marvellous ride to get back up there to him, because Jaskula, not known really as a mountain climber, did a tremendous job to climb his way up there. Let's look at the faces. That's where it shows. The spit coming down out of Rominger's mouth, breathing deeply. They ride on these mountain climbs almost into oblivion. They're up into altitude, they're breathing thin air. The noise of spectators, they concentrate. Their brains only know one thing: to pedal, 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 pedal. And Hampson, having got that sudden burst of life, is coming up to these three men in front, and it may be a chance then. Here, Henny Kuiper on the right-hand side, his team manager, Henny Kuiper. Great rider in his day, Olympic champion, winner of the English milk race, professional road champion, finished second in the Tour de France, stage victory in the Tour de France. I remember watching Henny Kuiper win his first stage in the Tour de France in the mid-70s. And Peter Post, the team manager, myself, have been following. We went into the park, we ran across to the finish, just saw him come in, throwing up his arms in joy, getting the first stage victory ever for TI Rally. And Henny Kuiper, now the deputy director of the Motorola team, must be pleased with the fact they're still in with sponsorship for the next year too. But class at the moment on the front, returning on we go. Benesto's Indurain in second place, and GBMG's Jaskula lying back in third spot. Just over 3 miles to finish. This, I think, is the day we've been waiting for, when the big riders hammer each other into the ground, where they've seen too much tactical work going on in the past. And right now we've got a race, I think, when they're prepared to say, let's ride ourselves into oblivion. Hampson coming up to Miller. And to make, oh, look at that. That's a beautiful gesture, Brian. What about that? Wasn't it super?
There we go, yeah, there we go. Hampston's attacking. Look, he seems to have the legs to do it.
Yeah, that was marvellous. Just a little pat on a teammate's shoulder. You know, hello, here I am. You know, I think he should have put a piece of string around his handlebar, because he's not going to go with it.
He's also helping Mejia to go up for his guarding in second place there.
No, but he's struggling, you see. I fear that we'll have to put the clock.
He's looking round for him. He's looking round to see if he's following.
He had to go back for him, because this morning he was in second spot, Maika, and so he might be under pressure from Jaskula. Let's see if they can stay together. Rominger then could well move up into third place. He has to pull back 2 minutes and 20 seconds on Mejia. I don't think he's quite going to make it at the moment, but certainly Jaskula might be able to drop back then, because here Roche fighting his way up toward the top of the climb. Roche doing a tremendous ride here, looking for at least getting in the top three on the stage. And still then Roche, you can see them just down the road in front of him. So Roche digging deep into those enormous reserves. Good to see him fighting back. When he was saying he wouldn't ride the Tour de France again, then he changed his mind, said he'd ride next year. And so here then Hampson doing what he can to keep his man in contention. The second place may be driven. He's looking over his shoulder, and Miller coasting up behind him. I say coasting, he's having to work hard as well. So this is very closely packed. See the helicopter in front, he's picking up the pictures from the leaders. They must be well over 1 minute down at the moment. Jaskula still laying back one length. Still, these three riders, the competition for the stage victory. The attempt then from Jaskula to move up into second place. The need from Rominger to take time out of the Colombian Maika and probably get a podium place as well. And that's what he's doing right now. And a great job being done further back down. Hampson, who started this morning in sixth place, having got up to his teammate. Rees has been dropped out of the action so far. So has Chiappucci, Brunel, Pulnikov, Delgado, Rincon. They've all been blasted out. The only other man trying to get up at the moment is Roche, who started in 18th place this morning. 26 minutes, 15 seconds down. Miller this morning, 29th, 35.15. This could improve Miller's positions and may move him up nearer into the top 20 in the race. But Jaskula still sitting comfortably in here in third spot. May yet unleash a sprint finish. He desperately would want a stage success then, and the two riders in front have done everything they can do to battle each other, and he's had the advantage of sitting on their wheels. But he's a big man. He's not a normal mountain climber. He's not so gifted as Rominger. He's not perhaps quite so talented in terms of physical ability as Indurain. But as they come now with 1 kilometre to go then, still that group behind, this is where the check has to go back to the riders in the Motorola colours to see if that 1 minute and some 20 seconds, 1 minute 22 is the gap between Jaskula here. And Roche is closing. Roche is now only 13, 14 seconds down on them. He can see them up in front with 1 kilometre to go. He might move up and catch them by surprise. They've rolled up here thinking they've got it, but Roche is one man who's fought his way back, really at the bottom of the climb, with 10 kilometres of climbing up to the top of this 1,670 metre climb. Roche was not in contention, but he's coming back. I'm watching the tactics here. I'm watching the watch too. And in fact, it's 52 seconds. So he can still, this rider here, keep that second place, but only by Nats Whisker. Let's wait and see whether he gets to the end, because 1 kilometre he could lose probably another 10 to 20 seconds, and that could put him out of the second spot. Keep your fingers crossed. First place, you can forget it. The man in the yellow is going to get that one. The question is now, A, who gets the stage? B, does second and third change places? Rominger certainly adding more points to his King of the Mountains, and more opportunity then of possibly putting himself in a third spot in the Tour de France in Paris on Sunday. He's got one more day in the mountains tomorrow, when we at Euroswap will be on air for 6 hours bringing you the racing. That's another day when there's a lot of destruction going on, and I'm sure that Rominger will try and get a third place and the King of the Mountains jersey. But Jaskula here is going to have to start attacking if he's got anything about this one. They'll swing round, they'll see the meter boards to go, and there you are. 400 metres left. Even a Japanese flag is being waved. A lot of them on Japanese equipment. There's no Japanese ride at the moment in the Tour de France, but I'm sure we're going to see that in a few years yet to come. 22 nations in this race. We've had 12 different teams win stages so far. Lots of different nations have had stage successes. Are we going to see the first Polish victory with Jaskula on the left? The Swiss rider Rominger's won 2 of the stages so far. Indurain has only taken the prologue time trial and the time trial itself. Jaskula's going away. Looks like the first Polish victory of the 1993 Tour de France. If he can keep this up, Jaskula it is, romping away now. He's going to take it. Well, that's great. Yet another victor. 7 hours, 21 minutes and 1 second. Jaskula, the stage victor. That was tremendously well judged. Our congratulations go out to that fighting Polish rider who really pulled something out of the bag. And here Roche, who got in within 14 seconds of them at the final kilometre. You can see now, he tried so hard. It's written all over his face. The Dubliner here coming into 4th place, some 24 seconds down. Miller coming up here now will take 5th then. So we have an Irishman and a Scotsman. And behind, look at Hampson helping his teammate over. He's got to stay within 1 minute and 10 seconds, or sorry, 1 minute and 1 second of Jaskula to keep the second place. What's he going to do? It's 45 seconds so far. Come on, says Hampson. Get in there. Let's give it some stick then. My mistake, 1:22, he's going to do it. Miller coming in now has left them. 1:22, it's coming up towards 1 minute. He's got 22 seconds to keep his second place. Hampson taking his teammate over the line. 1:05 on the clock there, so he's just done it. He's just kept that little gap. Jogo coming in here with Veronk for the Festina team. They've also swept up Claudio Chiappucci. Looks like Brunel going through as well at the moment, and so Maika will have kept his second place, but only just. That was close. Very, very close indeed. Chiappucci, coming in that group, tried so hard to win the stage today. Roche did likewise, but for Jaskula, a win for Poland, that really has given us something. Yes, Brian?
I don't know, it looks like Martin coming in to hold his place in the general class.
So then with the group here containing Jean-Francois Bernard, I can see him down there, clobbering up this climb here. They will know that Indurain has come in bitterly in third spot, but he's kept that yellow jersey. Romo with enough points to keep the polka dot jersey. And this climb really another cracking day's racing in the Tour de France. A lot of drama still to come. We've got another big day in the saddle yet again tomorrow. And looking down there, Roland Pansek riding up alongside Jean-Francois Bernard. The two class riders with him at the moment. 136, Javier Moulion on the far side. Escartin there, well, there's Perini banging his way at the top. Second place, unlucky the other day, but still he's showing some useful mountain climbing. Bona coming in as well, so there we are, 7 hours, 21 minutes for the victor. This little group all this on our road. Well, that in fact is the supporters of the Tour de France have decided they make sure that nobody on television across the wide world will forget the names of their favourites. And that's what they've been doing since the early hours of the morning, painting their names on. And the local populace have got to come out later on armed with the equipment to clean off the white place. So then we're looking then at the finish as Jaskula launched himself for the stage victory. So there we are. He's coming through. And Rominger says, well, that's it, I can't answer it, I've done all the work. And he just absolutely cooked then, so Jaskula came steaming past. Rominger tried again, put his hands down, had another go, grasped the centre of the bars, but he just hadn't done anything left, changed gear as well because he was a bit under gear, tried to come again for the second time, but that was it. Jaskula taking this stage of the Tour de France.